want to talk for a minute about networking. Networking to a lot of lawyers, just that word, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It brings up all kinds of social anxiety. A lot of us are introverts and just really don't enjoy the cocktail party where you're trying to figure out how to hold a drink and hold something to eat, and what do you do with all of this, and what was your name, and you're trying to see, and people don't like that, and it's not surprising. So unfortunately, especially for solos, it's really easy to live in a bubble where we don't get out a lot, we don't meet people within the profession, and that actually causes us some trouble. Now, of course, I'm an ethics lawyer and I look at everything from an ethics perspective. If you don't have a network of other lawyers in your area, whether that's your practice area or your geographic area, what do you do when you have a question? Who do you ask? Because we're bound to have questions. It's impossible to know everything. And if the question is one that a colleague could have easily answered for you, but you don't have anyone to ask, or you choose not to ask someone, then you're either going to go down one of two paths. One, you're going to spend way too much time trying to answer it on your own. And if you bill the client for that time, that's probably not really fair if you're on an hourly basis. Or you're going to make a mistake that was easily avoidable. Both of those paths are potential ethics problems. Clients don't like to be overcharged, and they really don't like it when we make mistakes. So you've got to have a network of people that you can turn to. Another way that there's a problem if you don't have a network is, what do you do when you're overwhelmed with work? Now, if you're successful, as we all hope to be, there will come a time when there's too many phone calls, too many people needing your time, and you just can't get to all of them. You should have someone for that overflow work. A colleague you can turn to either pick up some of your slack by taking on clients from you, or who can support you in getting work done so that you can actually handle more clients than before. And then the last way that I see a real problem with lawyers not having a network is what happens when you're just not available. We tend to think we're superhuman. It's never going to happen to us. The only time we're not available is when we're on vacation, and we can plan for that, but that's not realistic. Things happen. In fact, in our profession, the stress can be so great that I feel like almost every lawyer I know has a story of someone they've heard of collapsing at the courthouse. Someone who was under so much stress that they didn't take care of their health, and at some point was incapacitated, even right there in the courthouse hallway. It does happen. We can also be incapacitated other ways. It doesn't have to be that the stress got to us. It can be any other medical emergency, ours or family members. It can be a natural disaster, like a hurricane or a flood coming through, and now you can't serve your clients because you need to deal with that. And when it's not a natural disaster that affects your whole area, what if it's just your house? What if a pipe bursts and your home is flooded and you can't get to court that day? Who do you call? We need to have a network. So hopefully I've convinced you it's a good idea. What do you do to form one? It's hard to get out, and those cocktail parties are super, super awkward. Well, there's a few ways that I'd like to suggest. One is, within your local community, you can congregate with other lawyers in practice group settings, local bar settings, and even just in the courthouse, just sort of start to form a bit of a loose social network. Know who everyone is and what they do and what practice areas they're in, how to reach them. That's a good loose way to start. There's also a lot of online networking that can be done these days. Closed Facebook groups of lawyers, mastermind groups that are law specific. Lawyerist has one. There are many others as well. Bitch Jackson has one. Get out there and meet other lawyers who are doing at least close to your work. They don't have to be exactly your competitors doing exactly what you do in your neighborhood, but people who are in your circle who know the basics of what you do enough to serve as useful members of your network, and you can be useful to them as well. And finally, my last tip in forming your network is, don't be shy. Be yourself. Now, it's really hard. Maybe you're saying, but I am shy, that is myself. But let your personality show. We don't actually have to be perfect all the time, and we don't have to act like we don't have families or hobbies outside of work. It's great if you can be authentic and start to connect with people on a real personal level. It may be that your opposing counsel that you're always at war with in the courtroom has the same hobby as you, and you might actually become friends. It's amazing what can happen when you let your guard down. So go out and meet each other, congregate, network, and have a backup attorney come out of it.